If you're interested to know how I think and analyze a golf swing, watch this video. A lot of people ask me, how do you see what I'm doing wrong? I look at myself on video and I just have no idea how to analyze my own swing. I've obviously seen a lot of golf swings and I've studied it in a lot of different ways over the years, but I have a particular lens that I'm looking through, and you could say sort of a swing model of a sequence and movement patterns that I think are ideal for most players. Now there's always workarounds, because when I interview a student, I have to ask them about any physical limitations, any pain that they're dealing with, and of course the history of what sports they've played and what they've done with their golf swing up to this point. It all influences what their intentions are and how they're currently moving and how they can move. So we always have to consider those things when we're trying to solve the puzzle of how to improve somebody's golf swing. What pieces are workable and what might be untouchable or just fixed in place. So that's the first thing I want to say. Now, let's talk about the variables that are at our disposal that we can play with. In my opinion, the first thing are the three ways we can move as a golfer and as a human. We can move laterally, okay? We can move rotationally, and we can move vertically. Okay, so I'm looking for the combination of how a golfer moves with those three ideas in mind. And when I can think about it that way, I can then say, all right, well, this is how they're moving. Now, what are the better ways they can organize those patterns so that it influences the actual mechanics of how the club is moving in response to that? Because really, at the end of the day, how you move, your core body motions and the sequence in which they're moving in the way they do influences where the club moves. And that's really what we're trying to affect, is get the club into a position where we can make better contact and also, of course, organize the club face to be square through impact. So let's go through some of those three movement patterns. So let's say, for example, we have a golfer that sways in the backswing. Their predominant plane of motion is lateral. So, of course, what I'm going to try to get them to do is replace that with some more rotational movement instead. And of course, they're still going to have an element of lateral if that's their dominant move, but if we can add some rotation, it helps to straighten things out on the backswing. Now, this could be an issue or a non-issue, because some people that sway have a way of reconciling it on the way down and might get into a perfectly good position. So it's about prioritizing what parts of the swing are the most important to lead with when you're trying to make a pattern change. It's not always the backswing, so that was just one example. But the same for the downswing. Let's say on the downswing, the golfer's predominant move is rotational. I have to say, well, why are they doing that? Is there a reason before that point that they might feel the urge to do it? Or is it more of an intention that they're already trying to hit at the golf ball? We have to change the way they're thinking. But if we want to break it down back to those core three patterns, if they're leading with rotation, I have to add some lateral motion and some vertical pressures for them to delay their tendency to want to rotate first. So if we can focus on the other two ways of moving at the beginning of their downswing, give them cues and feels and drills to focus on that, they have a much better chance of resequencing their swing to hopefully then affect where that club is moving and improve the quality of their hit. Another common fault I see is too much dominance of vertical motion in the backswing, at which point, if you get this low in your loading phase of the backswing, you're going to have to create space and pop out of it earlier than you probably want to. So we need a little less vertical, and in order to replace it with something else, we just would focus then on rotation and laterals to try to get the golfer turning back and moving into their right side before they have a chance to go down. So changing the focus of how you move, if you go off those three options, can really help solve a problem if you look at it that way. So I've really just scratched the surface, but hopefully using this mindset of looking at your golf swing and thinking about these three variables and what your dominant moves are can better help you help yourself. And in the meantime, if you're looking for more details and a better resource, check out my book called A True Swing, available on Amazon, and of course my website, erikalarkin.com. And there's a whole chapter in there dedicated to the 9 profiles of golf swings. And so I really try to break down the most common combinations of patterns and those dominant moves such as lateral and rotational and vertical ones that come up that I see often. And so you might find that you align yourself with one of those, and then I suggest drills that match up to those profiles, and the drills are in the book. So it's a great way for self-help. If you have any other comments and questions, please list them in the tabs below, and I encourage you, if you enjoyed this video, to like and subscribe and share with your friends, and tune back in soon for more weekly tips and edutainment from yours truly. Until then, keep it in the fairway.